everybody. Raina here. Welcome to Book Banter. This evening, I'm going to be talking with Julia Ridley Smith, which is exciting for me because I got to moderate a panel that she was on for Tennessee Williams Festival a few weeks ago, and we got to hang out a little bit, and so I'm really excited to be able to catch up with her. It's just been a couple of weeks, but it's going to be fun to talk with her about all the things. Julia Ridley Smith is the author of a memoir that was published. It's like a memoir in essays. It's called The Sum of Trifles. That was her first book. And also, she is the author of a short story collection. This is her first short story collection, Sex Romp Gone Wrong. This is the book that we were talking about on the panel at Tennessee Williams, and so this is the book we're going to talk a little bit about tonight, but we're also going to talk about all the things. So if you have any questions for Julia or for myself, just type them in the comments and we'll answer them during the event. But without further ado, I'm going to welcome Julia to Book Banter. Hi!
Hi, Raina. How are you?
So good. It's so good to talk to you again.
It's great to see you again. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. When I was given like the opportunity to moderate that panel and given all three of y'all's books, I truly did, like, as I'm reading them, feel like I sort of won the panel lottery because I did love like all three of the books. And in addition to that, I feel like you won the book cover lottery because it's pretty great.
Yeah, I did. I got really lucky with that one. They sent me the press sent me several options. So it's published by an independent press called Blair, which is out of Durham, North Carolina, which is a great press and doing really great things. Anyway, they sent me several options for the cover, and I was like, nah. Oh, yeah. Like, I just knew immediately it worked perfectly with the title. And I just love that like mysterious, image on the cover. I think it works perfectly with my stories too.
Yes. Like, so every one of your stories, they have this, they're not mysteries, but you said
No.
mysterious, and they do have this sort of mysterious element to them. There's always this next layer
Mm-hmm.
that gets peeled apart through your stories, and I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's talk a little about the title too, because Sex Romp Gone Wrong is a great title. And someone asked me, I was like, is it like a sexy book? And I was like, okay, yes, but no.
But no.
Not really. Like,
kind of like in real life.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, okay, what's your question about that?
Well, the question is, that's the title of one of the short stories. So, why that one? Is it just because it's got that catchy?
Well, it is the catchy title. My husband was like, you should definitely, I tried a couple of other titles at different points. And that one just really felt right because it's catchy, but it also catches a lot of the themes, I think, in the book, which are, it's 12 stories about women and girls at different stages of life going through all the things as we do, sex and desire and love and teenage angst and motherhood, just lots of things. And so I felt like that title kind of ties all of the stories together in a way because it gets at these themes that, there's another story in the book called The Woman Who Did Things Wrong. And I think that Sex Romp Gone Wrong, The Woman Who Did Things Wrong, it's getting this idea of like whatever we're doing as women, we always feel like we're getting something wrong or being made to feel like we're getting something wrong, even if we don't think that we are.
Yeah, for sure. And also, like, it does catch this bit where from the very beginning, and you were talking about, like, there's one of your stories is, there's a teenager who's very prominent in the story. From the very beginning, we're like, what is my sexuality? Mm-hmm. Being sexualized, fighting being sexualized. But do I want people to find me attractive, but I on my own terms, you know?
But what even are
And
those terms? I don't even know what my own terms are half the time.
right. Yeah, and you think that that's only in the beginning of your life, but it is absolutely not.
Oh
The
no.
older I get, there's like you hit all these stages, and then you're like, okay, well, what is it now? What do I
Oh yeah.
want to be now? How do I want to be viewed? So yeah, that the title is like, it. No matter what, it's almost gone wrong a little bit. No matter what, because you're still
Yeah.
figuring it out. You know, hat off to the people who know for sure.
I guess, but I think they're delusional. I don't think that's real. They're just fronting somehow.
They just, yeah, not all the time. It's like maybe we just don't know those people well enough, so we're still
Okay,
on the outside.
maybe.
We're getting the show.
Maybe
we're getting
so.
The show, and as soon as the door closes, then they don't know what's going on either.
Then you're like, okay, yeah. I mean, I think like a lot of times when people, especially on social media, they come out and they say something really definitive, and then I'm like, okay. And then about whatever, 6 months, a year, however many years later, it's like, well, actually, I'm like, okay, there we go.
Well, and I mean, even thinking just about myself, you know, the younger I was, the more definitive. I was sure about this and sure about that, liking and disliking things, so judgmental of like, I don't know, somebody would be wearing a jacket and I would be like, oh, that doesn't look, you know, that jacket doesn't fit.
That looks terrible.
Like, why do I care?
Yeah.
I don't, you know, but I remember doing that, and that's just so, because you're so like, things are much more black and white. You're so sure about certain things.
Or you want to be sure, you know, I mean, I teach college students, right? And so, you know, they're very much in that stage of like taste, you know, their tastes are very defining of who they are, because it helps them try to figure each other out, I think, you know, and
yeah.
I don't know. At my stage of life, I'm just like, I don't care. I can't pay attention to that. You know?
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't.
Well, absolutely. You learn that it takes a lot of energy to be very, like, 100% pro or 100% against something to really, like, do that. And as I get older, I protect that energy, and I realize that it is not.
Right.
It's finite. It is not as just, you know, up till 3 a.m, back awake for a class at 7 a.m. That's not my life. I don't have that energy.
No.
I can't be like doing
Thank
that.
goodness.
I can pick and choose the things I'm, you know.
That's right. Is this going to be worth not putting my pajamas on at 7 o'clock? That's what I'm asking, right?
It's a solid question. I love that.
It is the daily question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not sure about that.
I was on last Saturday, I went to a concert, and my friend asked if I would go, and immediately I was like, yes, I like this band, and she wanted somebody to go with, and I said, yes. And then I looked at what time it started.
Oh.
And I had already said, yes, we're going. I went. It was
great.
But
what time?
Late.
It was late.
The doors weren't even until 8, which is not
not
late. But yeah, which means the first band didn't start until 9. The band we actually went to see didn't start until like 10:45.
No.
And both of us were like, man, it's late.
That is, yeah.
You
know, you've reached a different stage. Well, good. I'm glad.
Yeah, we made it. The concert was good. I was, you know, but it was 1 a.m. before I was in bed.
No. No.
Right. You would be like, I cannot have.
At 1 a.m., I'm already getting up to pee for the first time. It's like, I can't, you know, please.
Well, you just cut out that getting up.
Yeah, I got a schedule here. Oh my God, I sound like I'm 1,000 years old. That's okay. I don't care.
Well, it was a long time since I had done that before. Previous. So.
Well, I hope you had a good time.
I did.
Good.
And maybe like once every 6 months or so.
It's going to really bust out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild times.
It's going to do it. Really great. So you, your first book was essays,
Yeah.
and this one is short stories. So that short form
Mm-hmm.
is something.
The short form is something I can finish. I think I'm a fast writer in the moment. Like when I'm actually sitting down to write, I can write a lot of words at one time and they seem pretty decent, but the actually making, and then I'm revising and revising and revising and editing, but getting it to the point where I feel like it's finished takes me a really long time. And so when I'm trying to work on, longer book projects, it just takes me forever. So shorter things has been sort of what I've been able to finish, to get and to publish. And I mean, I think, in some ways that has been representative of the fact that, I was like, for a lot of the years that I was writing the stories in that book and those essays, I was working mom. So I had a kid at home and, either freelance editing or teaching, or so, I was pulled in a lot of directions. And I just was never one of these people that could be like, oh, I'm going to get up at 4:30 in the morning and right before my, blah, blah, blah. Like, hats off to them, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I can't stay that early morning time because I'm not getting up at 4, but I do usually get up around like 6:30, and I get stuff done, but I get stuff done like 4 or 5 different things. I switch around. It's hard for me to stay focused on any one thing that early in the morning too, which is that time when no one else is awake.
Right.
So that would be good writing time.
It would be good.
It doesn't happen.
No, well, there you go. So, yeah. So, and I also just really love the short story form for its kind of, I guess, intensity, and for the, you can really pay attention to language, which I love, like, really well-crafted stories. So I just really enjoy kind of, playing with sentences at the line level in a really meticulous way. And the shorter form kind of allows that.
I kind of love just when you're reading a short story collection, you can dip in and out of these people's lives.
Yeah.
And you get just, I mean, this sounds so stupid. I'm going to say it, but you get so many stories in one.
Yeah, right.
But
it's not stupid though. It's true. Yeah.
It's true. And I just love how short stories are so accessible because you get so much in such a small package that nobody can say they don't have time to read it, or you don't, any of these excuses that get you.
No.
I can get through a short story easily, and I love that.
It's perfect. And like, I love it for like bedtime, it's a bedtime story, which I love.
Yes. So I have one of my tips and tricks if people are trying to read more books: stop taking your phone to the bathroom, put a book in there.
Yeah.
And short stories are great for that too.
They are.
Have to.
Yeah, the book I have in my bathroom right now is I Hate Men, which is an essay. Do you know that little book?
Yeah, essay collection.
Yeah. Yes. Or I guess it's really like one longer essay, kind of broken up into little chapters. But yeah, I was like, this is kind of hilarious, because I feel like when I was growing up, the kind of books people had on the back of their toilets, like joke books and stuff.
That's true.
And that's very much not a joke book. Yeah.
No, I've seen it. I just tried to type it in bookshop, and I don't
think
that's the one.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing the one that we're talking about.
But it's super short. It's interesting, and I think I was drawn to pull it off of my shelf because I just finished reading Liars by Sarah Manguso. Have you read that? Yeah.
I haven't read it, but I know the book.
Yes, very intense. So, and I think her style, it sort of interests me too, because she writes in these kind of short, like snatches of language. But yeah, I mean, all kinds of any forms that are dealing in compression, I'm really into right now. I don't know if that's feeling like, I just, again, having such kind of like a busy reading and writing life. Um, I went in my 20s, I loved Victorian novels. I would like the bigger the book, the better. And now I'm kind of like, ooh, it's tiny. Yay. You know?
Yeah. Give
Yeah.
me a tiny but intense book, and I am
Yes.
so happy.
Yeah, I love it.
Like, that is what I want. And it doesn't necessarily take me. There's some people who are reading like these big, thick books and going through them so quickly.
Yeah.
And we'll go through the books at the same time. Like, they're going through like a 500-page book, and I'm going through a 150-page book with the same time frame. And that doesn't, people think that you must be reading so many more because you're reading a short book. And I'm like, not always.
Not always. Sometimes they ask more of you, and you've got to do more of the sort of connective work for shorter books,
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that might be part of what I like about them too, is that it's making me think in a way that if they were building the whole world for me and connecting all of the dots for me on those pages, then I just get to page through it. But this I have to kind of work at a little bit. And
no, I don't either. It's a different kind of engagement, which I like.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a beach read.
No.
But otherwise.
No, not usually. I mean, I still like the occasional, very long novel that's very immersive. So, I read all kinds of things.
Yeah, I definitely read pretty much. I'll give anything an opportunity.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, right.
Not gonna rule.
Will you stop reading it if you don't like it?
Okay, yes. But I've gotten a lot better at what I like. So
oh yeah, good.
I will know in the first 10 pages whether this is going to be enjoyable for me or this is going to be a slog. And if it is, I'm okay stopping.
You're out.
So now I will say, if somehow I get really deep into something and I'm starting to not love it, I will usually push through it. So I try and make that call in that first little bit.
Right. I know. It's painful really sometimes.
Yes. I feel like I've put in so much work. Like, if I'm 200 pages in, I've put in too much work at this point. I'm giving up on my own work.
Right. I know exactly what you mean. But I guess it's also like the lost cause fallacy, right? It's like, well, you're sort of throwing good energy after wasted energy. I don't know. And then I'm always just like, well, I still want to know what happens, even if it's dumb,
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, okay, well, I'm not enjoying this anymore, but I need to know what happens.
Yeah.
To
Right.
I have a friend who actually reads the back of, she reads the first page and the last page.
Oh,
to get a feel for a book. And I'm just too scared that I would know what, who done it or whatever.
Yeah, right. Did they stay together? Right. I don't want to know.
That mystery keeps me going, whether it's the simplest,
totally
fun book or the most intense, layered story. That what happens at the end is what will keep me going.
Yeah.
So I can't know.
No, that's not fair.
So, you said that before we got started, that you had your books that you're reading. What are you reading now?
Well, like I said, I just finished Liars. I'm also recently finished reading The Art of the Wasted Day by Patricia Hampel, which is it's several years old, but it's about kind of the idea of like leisure and rest and retirement, but it's also partly a grief memoir about her husband. And she had written another nonfiction book called Blue Arabesque that's about Matisse that I was interested in. So yeah, so I was like really enjoying this because I'm getting ready to end my school year. So the idea of having, rest and retirement and leisure is sounding pretty good to me.
I just put the link to the Art of the Wasted Book in
Yeah.
the comments for everybody.
Yeah.
That looks and sounds really good.
Yeah. It was really good. And then I'm also reading this book that I don't even know how I stumbled on this one, but it's called The Mirror and the Palette. It's also not nonfiction. The subtitle is Rebellion, Revolution, and Resilience, 500 Years of Women's Self-Portraits, and it's by Jennifer Hagee. And somehow I stumbled across this, and it's really interesting. So it's all about different women artists who painted self-portraits. And so it's like an art history told through that. So
Okay, you are reading the most interesting books.
Yeah.
I mean, those are great recommendations.
Thank you.
I'm putting a link to that one in there as well because that sounds so interesting.
Yeah,
This is
so
really
I
just a
mean,
list for me, everyone like watching can benefit
have
from
at
this
it.
as well, but I'll be coming back and
Great.
getting these books.
And for summer, I mean, I'm like looking around my office, like my stacks are so huge because I've been buying books like a crazy lady, you know. It's sort of like aspirational. I'm like, I'm going to read you soon when I get through all these student stories.
So you get, do you, like, since you have to read so much for work, do you like stack up books and look forward to the summer?
Oh, yeah, completely. Sometimes I put them aside. I'm like, I'll think maybe I'm going to read this. I'm like, nope, I'm going to put this one aside because I just want to like savor it, you know?
Yeah.
But I have to try to just read more in general this year, just to be off of social media and news. I'm trying to have myself on a limited diet of those things. And I also last fall moved into a new house with a screen porch, which somehow just makes me like want to read more books, you know, like rocking chair, screen porch, you know.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I have a hammock in my yard.
Hammock's good.
It is the best $19.99 I ever spent.
There you go.
Hands down.
I mean, yeah. So, yeah, I have a huge stack of books. I have another one. I have a lot of nonfiction piled up, but fiction too. If you want to hear another one, it's a nonfiction book called Lost, Found, Kept by Deborah Derrickson Kosman, published by Trio House Press. And she's somebody I met at a residency when I was working on my first book, which is a memoir about cleaning out my parents' house. And they were antique dealers. And her memoir is about cleaning out her mom's house, who her mom had obsessive hoarding tendency. So I'm pretty fascinated to read that. And then just so many like novels and short stories also piled up. So I'm excited.
Oh, yeah. I was actually was interviewed for an article. And one of the questions that they had was, what's your summer reading? Why do you think summer reading is important? Or what's special about summer reading?
Yeah.
And I can't narrow down. I don't have that gap in the summer, right? The summer is the same as
you're all year long
year for the most part, right? So I don't have like a summer reading stack, but I do have like the next 5 books I think I'll read until it's time to pick one, in which case it might not be from that 5 file stack at all. But I always have like the next up sort of books.
So what's next up?
So I've got 3. I have 2 next ups, and the one that I'm actually reading. So this is a little poetry book. Love and Misadventure is poetry, and I just picked it up because I liked the title.
Yeah, it's a great title.
Poetry is another one of those ones you can just sort of dip in and out of. So
Mm-hmm.
this was my next one. And then I have the new Taylor Jenkins Reid that's coming out. It doesn't come out till June, everyone, but it's my next one. And then I have a murder mystery, which doesn't come out until August. This is no good, y'all. But too old for this. Samantha Downing lived in New Orleans for like many years, and she just like last year moved back to California for and now she'll be back here in September to do for BoucherCon, I think. But this is her one that's coming out.
That cover is so scary.
Oh no,
I can't handle it.
I don't like. I've read. She has 3 other books, and I've read 2 of the 3 other books, which I very much liked. And I'm not a huge murder mystery.
Yeah.
Like not. I just don't read that many of them. It's really like the ones I have read, I have actually enjoyed. So I probably could read more of them. But you know, I read her first one just because she lived here, as you do, you know, and I was like, oh, this is really good. And so I'm looking forward to this one because, of course, the protagonist in this one is an older lady.
I see that.
And yes. And
She's
so
got a lot of pent-up rage then. When she brings that hammer down, it's going to be something.
She is. I really liked, have you read or heard of An Elderly Lady is Up to No Good?
No. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, I'm going to put the link in here. It is up no good. It's short stories. And all with the main character is like in her late 80s or she's like 90. And she gets away with lots of stuff because no one suspects the old lady.
Yeah.
And it's great.
That's what my mother always used to say. She was like, I loved it when I started getting gray hair because like then you just start saying these things nobody expects the older lady to say, and it's really fun because everybody's shocked.
Right, they're either shocked or you get away with so many things because people, oh well, she's
whatever,
set in her ways or
right,
he's whatever, and I was like, oh okay. And you just get away with all kinds of things you couldn't say.
I hope so.
Years ago.
Gives you something to live for, I guess. I'm going to get there.
Yes. Right. We're all going to get there. You might as well have fun with it.
Let's hope. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of my life goal is really like if I'm not having fun generally.
Yeah. Right.
What am I doing this for? Like, if I'm not enjoying this, what am I doing this for? So hopefully
100%.
I just get better and better and better at that.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope so. I mean, it's what I'd like. Life's going to give you enough stuff to be bummed out about that's not going to be fun, that you're going to be required to deal with. So you have to try to make as much fun for yourself as you can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the goal. And so all of these book recommendations will help all of you have hopefully have a little bit more fun in your life.
I hope so.
And I'm going to put the links to Julia's books down here.
Oh, thank you.
Sum of Trifles is her first book. You can find it there on Bookshop. And Sex Romp Gone Wrong. Link is right there coming up.
Perfect.
So you can grab both of those books and they will be shipped right to you. And I thought I would actually tell everybody what Bookshop is for half a second.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that I've done that. And bookshop.org is a company that partners with indie bookstores. It is a website that will ship internationally. They ship pretty much every book that's in print. If they can get their hands on it, they will ship it to you. They have multiple formats. And yeah, they partner with independent bookstores. So whether that independent bookstore has its own website or does not, they can still join Bookshop and benefit from those sales. So if you are sitting at home in your jammies and you want the book shipped directly to you, but you don't know where to get it from, that's where you should go.
That's a good place.
Bookshop.org.
Yeah. Can I shout out one more book?
Please do.
Yeah, that I'm really excited. It's a good friend of mine, Elizabeth Evans Dickinson, who is a writer and a journalist, has written a book about Claire McCardle. It's called Claire McCardle, the designer who set women free. And she was a fashion designer, mid-20th century, who was responsible for so many things that we love now, like pockets in skirts. And basically she invented the hoodie and really revolutionized like women's wear for work. And she's just a really interesting character to learn about. So I would highly recommend it. I got to see some of it when it was in manuscript, and I think it's going to be really great, and I'm excited about it.
That is wild.
Yeah. I mean, her story is really cool.
To think, I'm not finding it. I think what is the author's name? You said?
Dickinson, Elizabeth Evans Dickinson. Yeah, and so I mean, I was learning so many things I didn't know, which is like, in the 20s, 30s, like basically the labels in clothes were the department store labels, not yet the designers labels, and there were so many things changing in fashion around that time and around World War II, and Claire McCardle was like just a huge figure in fashion that I think a lot of people don't know about her now, but it's like time to know her. Yeah.
For sure. I don't think I've ever heard her name, but she's revolutionized my life.
Yeah.
Putting pockets and things.
I know. Thank you. And she was like, made it like fashion, like wearing ballet flats, that was her thing. I mean, so many things when you read about her, you're like, oh my gosh, that was her. That's awesome.
Well,
yeah.
I put that book in the links as well. It comes out June 17th.
Yeah.
So you can pre-order a copy of that.
Absolutely.
And that sounds fascinating. I love like little known pieces of history.
Yeah. Well, she's
she's
really interesting.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
I'm grabbing a copy of it.
And I think especially at our current moment, when like after the war, like Christian Dior was trying to put women back in corsets, basically. And Claire McCardle was like, no, thank you.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Yeah. So if you're in a we're not going back mood.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was an excellent you should use that when the book's coming out. You plug it on your social media. If you're in a not going back to
right. We need to read about inspiring figures like this. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, Julia, thank you so much for joining me for Book Banter.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been really fun talking, Raina. Thank you.
Of course. And thank you all for watching. And we'll see you next time. So,
bye.